Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we're going to be reviewing Super Cyborg for the Nintendo Switch. Now this game is a run and gun shooter that will be releasing on the Nintendo Switch eShop on April 1st of 2022, and it's going to have a sale price of only $6.99. The game is published by Dragius Games, and it'll have a download size of 195 megabytes. Now, just before we jump into the review, I will mention that I will try to keep the direct comparisons to the Contra series to a minimum. But to be totally honest with all of you, if someone would have told me that this is a long-lost Contra game that was never previously released, I would actually believe you. The game is so similar in gameplay and overall feeling. But now, with that all out of the way, let's jump straight into the review. Now, if we start with the storyline, in the game itself, it really doesn't share anything. However, if we go to the eShop description, just like old school games where you had to read the manual, that is pretty much where we get the whole setup. And it's a pretty simple setup, but that's just what you need for one of these retro old school run and gun shooters. Now, you are playing here as an elite battle cyborg who is sent to investigate a series of anomalies on a mysterious island. When you get there, you find that a powerful alien has unfortunately been awakened by unwitting scientists, and now it's up to you to run your way through 7 different levels and pretty much shoot down everything that moves. And storyline-wise, that's pretty much all we get. However, as I pointed to earlier, this game is not about storyline, it's all about gameplay. Now, let's not waste any more time and jump straight into that gameplay. So, as I stated earlier, the basic setup here is that of a run and gun shooter. Most stages you'll be moving from left to right and basically gunning down everything that comes at you. However, the game does a very good job to throw variety at you, where some stages readily are set up in a vertical fashion, and even some have a top-down viewpoint. And just to be perfectly clear, we are dealing with a one-hit-will-kill-you scenario here. So if it wasn't already clear, this game is very challenging, just like the series it's based off of. Now, there are 3 different difficulty levels selectable. However, even at the easiest difficulty, this will not be a walk in the park. Now, gameplay-wise, where this game does diverge from its retro counterparts is it offers a lot of modern options. Number 1, we're dealing with infinite continues here, so as long as you have patience, you can try the levels over again and again. What will restrict you, however, is the number of lives you have to complete a level. Run out of lives, you have to start the whole level over again. But even at that, in certain levels, they actually offer checkpoints, allowing you to have an easier transition and eventually make it through. However, if that patience does eventually run out, the game also allows you to continue at the last level you reached. One thing, however, that was missing is a level select. I would have liked to see that and would have made this game even a little better, just in case you wanted to replay any individual level you already completed. But these few modern touches were very appreciated and made this game challenging yet fair. And the key to success here will definitely be repetition. You'll have to learn where pretty much all the spawn points are before you can hope to be successful. And that's why even with only 7 levels in total in the game, it will take you at least, I would say, 3 to 4 hours to complete. Now, to help you along the way, there are power-ups available throughout the levels, going from a laser to a machine gun and even the almighty spread shot. And lastly, to wrap up the basic gameplay options, there is even a co-op mode available. So if you have a friend that you want to bring along for the challenge, it is available. Now, I've got to say, for a budget-oriented game, the package here is very enticing. Now, if we move along to the controls. Now, there's no way to get around it here. I have to compare. The controls here are exactly what you would have expected from a Contra game. You can move your character from left to right, either with the analog stick or the D-pad. You can jump with the B button, and you can fire with the Y button. Where the game does add in some modern touches, however, is number 1, if you hold down the Y button, it auto-fires. There is no reason to tap here. And secondly, they also added in a secondary fire mode to each and every weapon that is mapped to the X button that you can hold down for a charge shot. Now, although this is an interesting secondary option, I did find it a little underpowered. And in most scenarios, it was very questionable if it was actually better to just keep firing. Now, other than that, there isn't much to the control scheme here. However, the most important element this game definitely delivers on, the controls are extremely responsive. Which means that when you take a death, it's pretty much because you messed up, which is exactly what you want for this kind of game. Now, if we move on to the graphics and sound of the game. Now, oddly enough, I found that this game really delivered on the alien vibe of some of the Super Nintendo Contra games. Is it exactly similar to the art style? No, but it has enough flair and enough originality to really deliver on the overall package. It really skirts that line very well of grotesque beauty. The game also offers 3 different visual modes. You have the standard pixel art. You also have the smooth visual style that basically rounds the edges of the different elements and smooths things out. You even have a CRT filter. However, I did find it quite aggressive, and overall, my favorite mode was the standard pixel mode. Performance-wise, however, everything was very smooth, and once again, that is essential in a game like this. Now, sound-wise, once again, I was very impressed. Is it my favorite soundtrack of all time? Definitely not, but the soundtrack here is pumping and keeps the action going. And altogether, there's enough variety here that throughout the whole game, you never get tired of hearing any tracks. So overall, just as I pointed to earlier, for the complete package of both the visual style and the music selection, I was very impressed. Now for the overall verdict, and if this is the first time you're watching one of my reviews, you can look at my complete scale down below. Now in the case of Super Cyborg on the Nintendo Switch, I'm going to be giving this game a 9, putting it on the low end of an excellent game. Now don't forget that when I give these scores, the price the game is being sold at is a huge part. And as a $7 retro-styled run-and-gun shooter, being able to actually fool me into thinking that this could have been a Contra game is a great feat. And overall, what this game proves is you don't have to reinvent the wheel to offer a great experience. If you're a fan of retro-styled gameplay, if you're a fan of the Contra series, if you just like challenging games, this is an amazing pickup for only $7. But now, overall, the decision is yours. Will you be picking up Super Cyborg on April 1st? And if you do you agree with my valuation of the game? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget, on the way out, that if you did like this review, consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel if you aren't already, and hitting that notification bell so you know when all my future content comes out. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video.